Hello and welcome to D&D Discussions, where dames like me have discussions. So it's Dames and Discussions. I'm Carla and I am the GM for actual play podcast called Dnd Die, which is an all-female, all-awesome RPG podcast played in D&D 5th ed, but set in my homebrew setting of calendars. So what today's Dames and Discussions is going to be about an RPG creator and community spotlight. So we're looking at RPG content creators that we love as Dnd Die and want to share with you as well. We're going to split it up into two parts. We're going to split it up into RPG creators that are for more new players and new GMs, and RPG creators that we find are more for experienced GMs. Are you new to role-playing and would you like to get into role-playing either as a game master or as a player or game mistress? So the channels that we find we really enjoy and really provide this kind of teachings and input. Firstly, we're going to go with Tabletop Terrors. You'll find their link in the description below. So there are two guys who create also an audio podcast, but they also create a video cast, which they put on YouTube. And they have really cool shows where they discuss how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and they make it really quite simple and discuss how Dungeons and Dragons is a story and how it's for, you know, creating an epic story with your friends and how easy and fun that can be. Then they also have really fun video series where they call Splat Book Roulette, where they flip through the player's handbook or through the DM's guide and they pick a topic and they talk about that for 5 minutes. So it's cool if you haven't read the whole player's handbook or the whole DM's guide to just give you a short discussion on something interesting or maybe something that you have forgotten. The next creator in our IRTA community spotlight that I think is a really great creator for new game masters and new players is definitely DawnforgedCast. So even though he does go into depth on a lot of character builds and a lot of things like that, he has two playlists for being better players and being a better game master, and they really simplify the topic, but also because he's been doing it for such a long time, he comes up with tips that simplify, but also still help you to play an exciting game. So sometimes when people give Dungeons and Dragons tips or Pathfinder tips or any kind of role-playing tips, they make it too simple so that the story is not fun, or they make it too mathematical so that it's not fun that way. So what I like about DawnforgedCast and about his videos and his channel is that he's really looking at how to make it fun while still using all the mechanics that you can get in Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and so on. The next channel in our new, and I suppose I'm also going to say mixed because it's also for older role players and older GMs or people who are more experienced. Let's say experienced. So experienced adventurers is Taking 20. So Cody on his channel also discusses game master basics, discusses social issues. I love a new series he started, which is called Call for Aid, where he takes a question and he discusses that with his viewers about, you know, anything about social issues around the table, social issues in game. And it's really interesting to see from that perspective how the game evolves. Also, he and DawnforgedCast and a couple of the other role-playing creators on the internet and on the YouTubes have made an actual play called Save or Dice, so also go check that one out. I will put all these descriptions in the link below. And then there's the fact that Taking 20 has started a whole new series on Starfinder. So if you're new and you're excited and you're like me and you want to start something from the beginning. So one of my biggest problems is that with Dungeons and Dragons and even Pathfinder, which isn't that old, inverted commas, is that, you know, people have been playing it for years. People have been doing it forever, and it's hard to get into it when someone's like, yes, but in the first edition and on the 5th codex, and you start to feel, well, I did at least anyway, you start to feel a little bit overwhelmed and underprepared, and you don't really want to engage with those kind of games when you feel so far behind that there's no way you can catch up. So what Taking 20 does is with their new Starfinder series is because Starfinder was released this year, it's a role-playing game that we can all jump on board and get with at the beginning. So I'm very excited, and I love watching his Starfinder videos because I'm super excited to eventually run a Starfinder campaign. Another mixed channel, which we like, but it's not on YouTube yet, but do keep an eye out, is on Facebook, and it's called Ask a Pathfinder, and it's my friend Michael Kesefan who runs it. He is my friend, but I might have said his surname wrong, so sorry, Michael. And he basically does Facebook articles and Facebook videos about Pathfinder, helping with rules mechanics, helping with how to create great games and create great stories, and just discussing how to play Pathfinder at an optimal level. I also really love this new character he comes about in his Q&As, because he's got Q&As on his Facebook page. And it's called Chompface, and it's a goblin that he's making a series for. So I'm looking out for the Chompface series. So please do give Ask a Pathfinder a view for Pathfinder related content and for Pathfinder learning. Now we're moving on to channels for the more experienced role players and more experienced game masters and game mistresses. And I definitely think Questing Beast is one of them, because even though it's helping you to draw maps, and you can have a map if it's first time DM, but his other content looks at old school role playing and reviews old school role playing books, which is like very interesting, because some of those books, some of those adventures were just death and damnation. It's not like today where we're like, oh, you kind of survived that trap. It's like, no, death. So it's really fun to see those adventures being reviewed, but also, maybe trying those adventures yourself. And by seeing the review, you can see if you'd like to put in the money to buy the book to try the adventure yourself. But also his map tutorials are amazing. So, and what's great is they don't really require the best drawing skills, which I really don't have. Ugh. But he takes you step by step, and he shows you ways to create maps, but not just draw them, but to actually create the world and why the maps would be like that as part of that world. So do give Questing Beast a look. Last but not least, for this RPG community spotlight, is a channel called Chalice in Chains. It's in the description below. And he basically does discussions around game mastering and around playing and in various systems, so not just Dungeons and Dragons. So he covers a wide variety of systems and discusses quite in depth about why people would want to play a certain way, or why people GM over a certain way, and discusses some interesting topics. So do give his channel a check as well. Thank you so much for watching or listening, depending on where you are hearing this. Please do go give a look at the hashtag RPG Community Spotlight, because it is running all of today, which is the 2nd of October. And support all these cool, amazing RPG creators who are creating anything from Let's Plays to GM tips to map making tips. They all provide a unique view to help better your game and better your time at the table. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you on our channel at Dnd an all-female, all-awesome RPG role-playing channel. So please like, comment, subscribe, and rate and review us on your favorite podcast apps. Please, all the links are in the descriptions below. Go share some love for the role-playing community, and have a most amazing week of role-playing.